So the child has, a way of understanding the world. You know? So one is that there are inherent qualities that it is born with. That is to understand the world. And second is that there is also a way of decoding uh, or simplifying what it experiencing. So suppose, so you take any object, it can be a bottle, it can be a house, take any object, or let's say a house. There's a form, that is what it looks like. There's a function. Function meaning the space, then the rest is absent. Then there's a process by which it is made. Third, materials are involved in making it. Fourth is structural strength. So I think we can understand the world in these five aspects, And now when you look at what the child is doing, you'll find that they are trying to understand the world in either of these terms, So when a child is sitting on a sofa and bouncing, which is what almost every child does, which means it is responding to a principle that is inherent. A child will sit on a sofa and start bouncing, which is actually about materiality of that particular thing. It will not do it when it is on a hard surface. When it is on a smooth surface, it starts sliding. So which means actually it is trying to understand what is the material, what is possible with that material. Then it will use various materials and construct what it is seeing. Third thing is that the process of construction itself is something that that the child is experiencing. So process becomes a very important thing. So normally the first thing is the form. What does it look like? So it will recreate what it looks like. So take a book and keep it upside down like a pyramid and say this is a house. So there is a clear connection between what it is experiencing and what it is constructing and how it is simplifying it. So this is one aspect. Other aspect is that the child is constantly trying to create its understanding of the world by making similarity and differences as its way of understanding. Some way of categorization. So when a child is, what it experiences first becomes its first thing to name. For example, a cat, because a cat, a dog, it is seeing every time, a crow, So the crow becomes the first thing to be, to be named, and other things will be named in relation to this. You see? So when a child has seen a peacock flying, the child said it is a crow. When it got down and started walking, it said it's a dog. So its first reference was a crow and the dog to understand other things. You see? So for example, another child, when it's, it called Mimi for cat. When it saw a tiger, it called Bada Mimi, big cat. But when it saw the lion, it was confused because the body looked like a dog and the face looked like a cat. So sometimes it would call it, in relation to dog or some in relation to cat. So there is already a system that the child has been given to look at the world, look at the similarity and differences, and make and make certain categories and make the understanding of it. So there is a clear structure to this. What's also interesting is that as the child is calling something big cat, it's also engaging with adjectives. So even the adjective, noun, verb, all this is part of a child's understanding of the world. Other very important thing that we need to understand is that life itself is verb. In a very strict sense, you can understand the whole language is noun and living as verb. So it will be interesting to look at that. Child will not say verb first because that's what it is doing, You see? So it will say, it will say water. It will not say drinking because that is what it is doing. You see? So I think it is very important to revisit children without in a controlled environment so that you will know exactly what the child is. Today what is happening is that we are trying to understand child in a very artificial environment and with lot of assumptions. I think a true knowledge seeker is first rule, first discipline that he or she has to follow is to remove all your biases, all your opinions. Start with as if you don't know, That should be the starting point. We must approach children as if we know nothing about the child. Don't have any belief installed. But the child is every day doing something, you can see it and respond to it. And it is available to everybody. It's not for a scientist, so-called scientist. Knowledge is available to everyone who is willing to observe, who is willing to discard their opinion.